You really don't know what you did.
I mean, I can tell you're very upset about it, though.
What was your first clue? Red One is a movie that pretty much nobody cared about. It's got Dwayne Johnson, and it's got Dwayne Johnson. What I find most confusing is the rating here. This is a PG-13 movie. That means 13 and up, in case you forgot. That's justified with a decent amount of language. So the old "it's just for kids" excuse doesn't fly here. Not that that's an excuse. But opposed to the recently covered If, that's not the debate this time, adults are supposed to enjoy this. Is this movie offensively bad? Is it hard to get through? No, and kinda. If it had a PG rating, it'd just be another movie that treats kids like they're stupid. But given that it's not PG, that implies they thought they had something here. And for the analyst, that's a good enough reason to question why that is. Obviously, it's a big failure. I guess nobody else saw the potential. There's no inherent big issues, it's just stupid. So let's dive in, analyze this holiday fuck-up, and try to find out why they made it. So immediately we have something we don't need. A flashback to a young version of one of our lead characters, Jack, played by Chris Evans, who was a hacker and bounty hunter. Don't waste time questioning this. While him being a hacker is mostly irrelevant just for plot purposes, something you wouldn't know if you skipped half the movie, the flashback is completely irrelevant. He's skeptical of Santa Claus, but that's not relevant at all. He barely questions what's going on throughout the movie, never denying Santa is real, as nobody would in the situation. So my guess is somebody wanted their kid in this. Speaking of kids, after our especially quick-moving title, really gets out of here quickly, must be ashamed, we're given what sounds like a pedophile joke.
Got a 5'11" male grown-up hovering by the scented candles, keep an eye out.
Or it could be a thief, but do they realize how that sounded? Dwayne Johnson plays Callum Drift. Okay. St. Nick's security.
Oh, of course, your boyfriend's here.
May as well go in that direction. And despite enjoying the toxic mall environment, they head back to the North Pole for something everybody loves.
Larry, this is going to Bermuda.
Copy that. Bermuda. Welcome back, Chief. What'd I miss?
Nothing.
Is CGI supposed to be appealing? Are those supposed to be fucking elves? You believe putting a damn CGI polar bear that doesn't affect anything on the fucking cover was somehow a good idea? This may come as a big shock, but apparently it didn't help the marketing. So if you're wondering what this weird shit is, I'm not gonna dignify explaining, so here's a future clip that does.
We are the multilateral international organization responsible for securing and protecting the mythological world.
Because why not? And I will say, J.K. Simmons as Santa is a good fit. He's got the right tone, the right voice, a little on the slim side, but that's okay.
Maybe it's time to find a less stressful spot for Phil. I don't know, tinsel?
Thing is, he's not in much of the movie. After this, he spends most of it unconscious until the climax, and they really didn't need to do that. They could have had him do something, say something, be involved in some way, but instead we have Dwayne Johnson and Chris Evans doing weird shit. Speaking of The Rock, he wants to resign. Doesn't say it outright, but what else could it mean? It's because so many people are on the naughty list now. Really, that's the reason. I guess he ignored the last decade. But you know the drill. One last ride.
Huh?
Oh, it's all the same shit, man.
Unfortunately, the mood is broken when a Black Ops team breaks in and kidnaps Santa. The spilled milk joke really should have been funny, but for whatever reason, they fucked it up. But the chase ensues. It's okay, the North Pole definitely looks cool, but nothing is really focused on enough. It's the only action scene with this background. They really should have made the most of it, but it's pretty forgettable. Ooh, what's gonna happen with that? It gets big, and then it shrinks and stows away in midair. Oddly enough, shrinking is a common theme here.
I don't know why.
And in the end, it turns out to be a decoy. They find out the North Pole's location was compromised by Jake O'Malley, the hacker, unknowing to him, and Jack's son Dylan, played by Wesley Kimmel, supposedly has issues with him, as always. But you wouldn't guess that, as he's okay with his behavior.
I started to teach science so I could go in and practice guitar. Then I changed it on the computer.
Makes sense.
So I'm supposed to go in and change his abs into presents so he can hang out with Piper?
It's bullshit.
So instead, I gave him 3 more absents.
Good. Send a message.
It makes sense given he's a hacker and even is somewhat funny, but when this character eventually comes back in the movie for almost no reason, it's hard to believe there's ever a problem. We'll get to that later though, because right now, fight scene. With whatever this does, I don't know if they're going for comedy, but most of the fight scenes are ruined because of some gimmick like this. Maybe it was funny in some way, you can judge that, but he's caught anyway and questioned by Zoe, played by Lucy Liu. Obviously he doesn't know what he did, so she says box him up. Is that gonna be something clever? No, really just box him up, okay. And upon seeing the North Pole, he is, like I said, not gonna be skeptical of Santa Claus. Why would he be after seeing this shit? But it still makes the intro fucking pointless. Kind of like the tracker they put in him, that's pointless too. He never tries to escape, and despite being threatened by The Rock and CJ Polar Bear, he agrees to help for a lot of money. Money that is again forgotten about. This is so fucking lazy.
But I'm not rolling into Aruba undercover with a giant elf. It's ELF.
Cal!
What? I shouldn't care about this, but what? What the fuck are these things supposed to be? The spirit of Christmas nonsense? Just hit the like button now and subscribe if you're going to. Remember to share the video because YouTube doesn't. Check out the gaming channel for the same stuff but with games, because very soon this is gonna get obnoxious. They go to find the anonymous buyer Jack sent the info to, using a toy store closet for teleportation. Again, they can explain.
The supply closets are portal stations for the North Pole Field Network transit system.
Oddly enough, we actually have 2 funny lines in a row.
No, it doesn't work on everything. No, you can't try it. No, you can't drive.
364 days?
We have Boxing Day off.
Not many good lines, unfortunately, but I'll take what I can get. And Jack, who was supposed to be intelligent, finally does something intelligent.
And this guy, he's interesting. Look around. Anyone else at the beach wearing shoes besides you, me, and him?
Granted, he does show off at the beginning, and he will do other things later. He's not completely useless, but this right here is the pinnacle. You have a beach fight that looks stupid as hell. If you enjoy this, I don't know what to say.
That was so disturbing.
I guess I'd say that. But upon confronting the broker who tells him the kidnapper is the witch Gryla, played by Kiernan Shipka, and as the movie's main antagonist, she's the definition of just there. She wants to punish all the naughty people, and no, I don't just mean no toys, but as somebody who appears in mostly decent to very good movies, why this? The Rock, Chris Evans, a good fit, but for her, kinda disappointed. Literally, anybody could play this.
Let him go, witch.
I've warned you.
And I've warned you.
So given what year it is, naughty means everybody, and they're attacked by giant snowmen who die if you pull out their nose. I repeat, giant snowmen who die if you pull out their nose. I'd like to remind all of you, this isn't for kids. Adults are meant to enjoy this. It's better than the beach fight, but still not good, and they suspect Krampus might be involved, because Krampus is Santa's brother who invented the naughty list, and apparently Gryla's ex-lover. But before getting into that, we're reminded that Jack has a son. More than halfway through. We have to officially add in the not that good dad subplot because he has to mess up something, but we don't see him doing anything else bad involving Dylan. They seem to get along just fine, and in this moment, it's justified why he couldn't be there, so what's the point of this? So he can apologize later because, spoiler, that scene makes no sense either. We don't need this, it's not needed in the movie, it adds nothing.
And you wasted my time!
So they go to Krampus Fuckland, I think it's called that, use a magic chicken to distract the hellhounds, somehow that sounds normal, and the Tim Allen knockoff, because Pixar is woke as fuck, tries to steal something as he has to do something wrong. As a result, they're captured, and Krampus is okay. He's played by Kristofer Hivju and does a decent job. I wouldn't call him memorable, but again, he's okay.
But back then she was glorious. An ogre 18 feet high. The skin of an elephant.
He reveals that Gryla came there to retrieve the magical imprisoning snow globe, which should explain what her plan is. If not, look it up. Callan has to play Krampus Slap. Whatever. But Jack does something useful, leading to a somewhat decent scene, and upon escaping, they realize Dylan has to do something, so he's sent to Snow Globe and imprisoned. Jack gets imprisoned too, on purpose, which in theory should accomplish nothing. But as you know, we can't do anything different, so heartfelt bullshit conversation. He apologizes for stuff that we don't see, and the Snow Globes break because this made them nicer.
That's fucking stupid!
I'm gonna say this one last time. Adults are supposed to enjoy this. And just to stay in context, I'm not claiming kids can't watch it. I don't think that'd be an issue. But when you put PG-13 on a Christmas movie, then it's the equivalent of saying, even if you don't have kids, you should still see it. I'm sorry, but that's the way it is. As an adult, as someone who is legally allowed to see Terrifier 3, not that they even check the ID anyway, I am offended that they put the 13 on the rating. I get they think kids are stupid, no, this is not the worst movie ever, but it pissed me off. So they incorporate some Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom logic, no, it's still worse, as we find out the whole thing was a decoy, and Santa is still being held in the North Pole, throw in shapeshifting to keep the plot fresh, and she uses toy duplication equipment to mass-produce the snow globes, and prepares to leave. Unfortunately, they chase her down, and somehow get real lucky. Jack does most of the work here setting the reindeer free, and I guess that's it. Yeah, whatever. Krampus comes back to justify his existence, is no help whatsoever, but again. Whatever. So now it's the end. Callum doesn't retire.
Shocking.
Everybody's happy aside from the viewer, who's pissed the fuck off. And I'll give the movie some credit, the final scene is kind of nice. A lot of creativity here, thought it was legitimately put in. I don't care at this point, I don't think anybody does, it's over now, and I have the perfect clip to sum it up.
What in the actual
Oh yeah, that is perfect. So, in closing, to those who think I've taken the rating too far, well, I guess, but it's the only thing that makes the movie stand out. I don't know if it's meant to be comedic, but it mostly isn't. I honestly don't know what it's going for. It's a confusing movie, and all I can really say is the audience is not only aimed toward kids. I have to judge it with that in mind, and the result is an insultingly dumb movie that doesn't really go beyond that. Like I said, nothing offensively bad, nothing that really stands out. I'm not gonna remember this as one of the worst movies, and overall, it's just a waste of time. The good elements, being J.K. Simmons as Santa Claus, the North Pole atmosphere, and even Krampus are wasted. You don't see much of those. Time better spent on bad fight scenes, a boring premise, and a bunch of cliches that, let's face it, nobody likes. If you're okay with your kids hearing a bit of language, I guess they'll like it. But to the 13 and up target audience, avoid this holiday disaster. It rightfully bombed, and that is a good thing. I'm the analyst, and remember kids, you're lucky. You get to skip this one. So, you've made it to the end. That's an impressive feat indeed. Since you managed that, I guess check out the gaming channel, in which I cover a variety of gaming topics, like analysis videos, such as this one. If you're into that, then press the link in the description. It's that simple.